Talking Vintage Vendor Corner, show number 27. Show number 27. We are brought to you by Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, located at 502 West Brennan Road, Lakeland, Florida, 33813, Central Florida. That's where we're at, Central Florida. If you're ever in the area, stop by and say hello to us. Jim and Warren, we're both vendors here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, and I happen to be the owner. So that's where we're coming from. Why are you watching this? It's a place to learn about being a vendor and what it takes to be successful and more. How do you like that?
That's good.
That's a little tagline there. That's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah.
So we are going to go straight in to today's topic. We've been doing the topics out of a bag where we draw them and we blindly discuss those. This one we've been setting up for, and I've been talking about it in the last couple shows. Today's topic: what is the one thing that you would change at your mall or shop to make it better? So I posed this out there to people on social media, and I got a lot of response.
That's good.
So we're going to go over those things that people would change, vendors would change at their mall in order to make it better. Limit the number of vendors selling the same thing. How about that? It's be difficult to enforce. I like the idea, I really do, but it would be difficult to enforce. Those vendors and they're out there. Those vendors that are out there that are not unique, they just see what's trending in the shop, what's selling, and they just go out and get the same thing.
Right.
Really, I mean, there's some here in our shop.
But most are very respectful to that.
I don't know. I don't know if they are respectful to that. I don't know.
No.
But it's a great idea, but how are you going to do it? I mean, you're going to have to make a list, and then, Warren's going to come in and say, hey, I'm the LP guy, and nobody else can sell LPs.
Yeah, you can't.
It'd be difficult to do. I like the idea. I'm just not sure how you would work it out. Number two, and this is probably the number one thing that people said. The number one thing. I'm going to go through them all. Maybe I'll save this to the end. But this was the second one I came across, but we're going to come back to it. All right, moving on. Reset night for vendors to reset booths and brainstorm ideas. So they would have a reset night. We kind of had those before. But I don't know how you would encourage everybody to come. I think it's a fantastic idea. We do that here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. We used to have the Wednesday before our market weekend would be a kind of a reset night, or one of our key holders would come in and open the shop up. People would come in and do that. But not enough came in to like brainstorm ideas and stuff like that. I know that there's other shops that have less time to reset than Decades does. We allow our vendors to reset anytime except on Saturdays. Saturdays is our busiest day, so they're not allowed to bring anything in on Saturday or take anything out on Saturday. They're not even allowed to park on property on Saturday because we're limited in parking. But so, I mean, because you could come any other time, Sunday seems to be a big reset day. They know not to get in the way of the customers, and they know if they're in their booth the whole time, they're going to hurt their sales that particular day. But yeah, I mean, we did it, and we still kind of do it. Some of the key holders come up at night, and when they come up, we put it out that they're coming up, and if you want to join them, here's the time that they're coming in. But I like the idea. I mean, if we were more restrictive and we didn't let you come in during the day or during operational hours, it would be perfect for everybody, because everybody would want to show up on that particular time. They were allowed to come in and you could brainstorm. I like it. I do like it. Okay, number 4, I guess, extended hours at least a couple times a month. And I heard extended hours more than once. But I mean, that's great. It's a fantastic idea. The only thing I can see is who's going to work it. If I had vendors that were capable of running the register and said, hey, Jim, I want to open up on every other Friday night from 5 until 8 p.m., fantastic, go for it, But to tack that on to the limited staff that we have, and we don't have any paid staff, but to tack that on to them would be difficult. We are open. Decades is open 7 days a week currently, Sunday through Thursday, 10 to 3, Friday and Saturday, 10 to 5. I mean, I could see some more hours squeezed in there somewhere, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if they'd be productive. And then, I mean, who's gonna work those hours? It's a great idea.
Yeah.
We try to do that here at Decades, but we do it in the form of special events.
Right.
Yeah, we do it in the form of
It'd be the
special
same
events.
thing, in a sense, it's the
I
same
would
thing.
think, yeah, because you got to get the word out there if you're going to do it anyways. You know, like we open currently on Saturdays. We're technically not open till 10, but I get here earlier, and usually the store is open by 8:30. I don't get a lot of foot traffic between 8:30 and 10 because, again, it's not advertised that we're open during that time. And if you're going to do it sometimes and then not others, it's going to be difficult to get the word out to the customers. Like we used to have the market weekend. Traditionally, Decades, at the very beginning, Decades was only open one weekend a month. And then we had another weekend, Thursday through Sunday, only twice a month. We were more of an event than we were a regular store. And so we kept those market weekend hours, that Thursday and Sunday, 10 to 5. We kept those until probably just a couple of months ago, but it was confusing. People didn't understand. It was really the only first weekend of the month, which was our very, when we originally started, was the only time we were open. So we called it the market weekend. Nobody understood what it was. None of the vendors understood what it was because this has been years and years ago. So we dropped it. So we are, that Thursday and that Sunday, which were the market, Thursday and Sunday, we're open 10 to 3, just like every other Thursday and Sunday. But I like it. It's a great idea. I'm just, I mean, how would you staff it? This one kind of goes into one we've already discussed, different setup hours, night hours, early hours. I mean, you got to understand, I mean, it's great. I understand what the vendor wants to make their shop better, but are you asking for yourself? Or are you asking for the mass of vendors? If I had half my vendors come to me and say, Jim, I really need early morning setup hours, I'd be like, okay, it's half of you guys, sure, we can work something out. But, when it's just an individual, you're only asking for yourself, and there's only so many hours in the day. And again, who's going to be there? So kind of like what we talked about with the setup being a group activity. Okay, here we go. Events to bring customers in. Boom.
But we do that a lot.
I mean, that's what we do. Here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Cheapo, we do a variety of different events. We have what we call a 10-20 event, which is 10% off everything in the store that is regularly priced, 20% back in the form of Decades dollars that they can use in a future purchase. And before you go crazy on me, the 10% is contractual and does come from the vendor's take, but the 20% is on the shop side. The shop takes the hit on the 20%. And even though we only take 12%, that's an 8% loss that we take when we give those Decades dollars out. Our idea is to get customers to return. I mean, I guess we hope some of the Decades dollars don't come back, but most majority of them always come back. So, it's a big event for us. It's a 10-20 event. We do those. And then we do it for Valentine's Day. We do it for our Christmas open house. We do it for our holiday open house. We do it for our anniversary party. We do it for all those things. We'll say it's our year-end anniversary party, and it's a 10-20 event, or it's our Valentine's party, and it's a 10-20 event. So we do those. We also do yard sales for items that can't be sold in the shop because we are restricted to vintage items, but we do yard sales. We do those in part of our parking lot. We do those quite a bit. We have dollar yard sales, which are really cool. Everything at the yard sale is $1. The vendors come in to get rid of some of their older stuff and some of the stuff they can't sell here at the shop. We do different sales where the vendors can participate in the sale if they wish. We do Green Dot. We do Red Tag. We do Black Friday. We do the Santa hunt. We do the turkey hunt. We do Vendor of the Week. We got tons and tons of events. So
we're big on that.
Yeah, we're big on events, and events they are a way to get people in during the summertime when we're doing our Vendor of the Week. Customers will walk in and specifically ask who's Vendor of the Week this week. So, I mean, you know it's working. You know it's working. So, yeah, events, got to have them. This next one, have more or some floor walkers to help customers. Have the staff not stand behind the counter and work the floor. I mean, I can see that. At Decades, we have floor walkers. When Warren is here, he's basically a floor walker. He walks around and helps customers and stuff like that. On Saturdays, we have more than one floor walker, but I can't see getting the counter people out from behind the counter to walk the floor. I mean, if it's absolutely dead, or if it's very, very slow, I will leave the counter and walk around, but if I got too far away and a customer was coming up, I'm inconveniencing them because they're going to stand there, and that happens. So usually when I do walk away from the counter, I ask a vendor to stand in for me, and then if a customer does come to the counter, come get me, and so we can ring it up. So it's a good idea, but I'm not sure you want to take your counter people out from behind the counter and do that. And look at this. We did this in the other show. We're
You didn't
moving
do
on.
number one.
We're moving on. I haven't done it yet because I'm going to a new notebook.
Oh.
Moving to a new notebook. This is the show continued. Here you go. To make their store better, somebody said clean more. I get it. I mean, we are half of a warehouse and half air conditioned, and our warehouse during the season gets tons of leaves blowed in it.
Oh,
He can
yeah.
ask it. He sweeps. He'll sweep today. So lots and lots of leaves. So yeah, clean more, but that's up to the vendors too. I mean, it's their personal space. We've talked about this in another show. Everybody has to treat their space as if it was their own business. So are you wanting the shop to clean more, or are you wanting the other vendors to clean more when you say your shop would be better if they cleaned more? It's hard to put that on the shop because it's individual items. It'd be easier to put that on the vendor and say the vendor needs to clean more, but we sweep and we blow the leaves out. We do the best we can with that. Here's another one that was popular, more security. Okay. Everything you do at a shop's going to cost money. I think it's a great idea. And we have a variety of different cameras here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. So, we have them. It's a deterrent. We could catch people if they did it in view of the cameras, but I think it'd be impossible to put cameras in every single location to cover every single area. I think the best thing you could do is participate in the activities of your store, and while you're there, view what customers are doing. That would help, but I get it. More security, that goes back to the vendor too. If you're selling small things that are very valuable, you need to put them in a locked case, and that way the customer has to come to the counter to get the key. And here at Decades, the key doesn't go to them. The key actually goes with a vendor or the counter person to open that up and watch them as they're perusing through that locked cabinet. Anything they select automatically comes to the counter. They don't get to walk around with it. So there you go. Good idea, though.
You'd have trouble monitoring that, though. I mean, you'd have to have a station and a person dedicated to.
Oh, the cameras
monitoring?
and stuff? Oh, yeah. You can only look when you think about, when you're suspicious. Number 10, live sales. Live sales. Do live sales. That's a great idea. And we did them during the pandemic. That was the only way we were making any money during the pandemic because we were closed.
Yeah.
So we did the live sales during the pandemic, and they weren't financially successful. They were a ton of fun. And some of those are on this YouTube channel. Some of the live shows are there. Yeah. What was it from the bedroom to the
Yeah.
yeah, you can
We
see
had
a few of those.
We had a shelf sitter.
Yeah. You can watch those. They're on the YouTube channel. They're under the Talking Vintage. And there's some of the early Talking Vintage shows, but that's a different playlist on this channel. You're on the Vendor Corner one. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can check those out. But, yeah, they're difficult. They're hard to do. You got to have a lot of people involved in that. I know that there's a local shop that does them, and they've done them. They've dropped them. They've come back to them. Again, I don't know. And, again, that's an hours thing. I would be happy if a couple vendors said, hey, we're going to come in and do a live show from the shop on Friday night from 7 to 9. I'd be like, yeah, sure. You know, as long as one of you is a key holder, that's great. Let's do it. You know, have
Yeah,
at
yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
make sure your ideas are not just for you, they're for the whole shop, and that you can help implement those ideas. Okay. Before we get into the big one, this is the last, I guess, smaller one. Yeah. Shared space. Features space like holiday space. I love the idea. I have done it several times here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. It's a fantastic idea. It really is. The only problem is the shared part, because that does not work. It doesn't work because people get upset because too much of so-and-so's in there, not enough of mine, there's no room left. And probably the biggest thing is they don't follow the rules. Can't follow the rules. So, I mean, I'm not a Debbie Downer on it. I like the idea. We had a space right as you walk in the front door. We tried to do like a furniture showcase, but that was the problems. People would not, they griped because so-and-so had too many pieces in there. But when the space was open, nobody was available to bring anything in. And then as we wanted to change it, nobody was available to take their stuff out. It taxed the shop greatly to move all that stuff all the time. And it was really, really cool to look at. But the cost involved was just too much. Then we moved to a vendor spotlight place in the shop and area, and we gave it to a vendor for a period of, I think, a couple weeks each time. But then that got to be a hassle because they wouldn't set up on time. They wouldn't take down on time. We still have the vendor spotlight, and it changes every 2 to 3 weeks, but it's one vendor controlling it, and they stay with it 100%. They've had a partner helping them, but then that partner fell off because they couldn't keep up with the time frame and stuff like that. It's a great idea. It really is. I like the idea, but you got, what are you going to do? You're just going to keep it perpetual. Like we have a new arrivals area that some of the vendors utilize, but if we let everybody do it and we said you had to take it out on a certain day, we would be taking it out. We would be moving it every single time. So, it's a great idea, but I'm not sure that it works. I'm not sure that it works. It hasn't worked here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. That doesn't mean that you can't try it at your shop, and maybe it'd work better at yours. Maybe it's just us. All right, the number one thing people said they wanted to see their shop do was better social media. Better social media. Okay? They didn't get into a ton of specifics, but one of the comments was show more vendors. Well, my comment to you is, I doubt there's a person that's doing the social media that's targeting the same vendor every single time. But if they are, the bottom line is it's to get people in the shop. So, don't be selfish in your wants and your desires. It's got to be the whole shop benefiting from that. And any social media that's done is going to benefit the whole shop. We talked about it briefly. We've talked about it in other shows. Each booth vendor or each space vendor is their own entity. Do your own social media too. Don't just pick on the shop if you're not doing it yourself. Do your own Facebook page. You know what I mean? Reach out there, send things out, do all the stuff that you can in order to help out. Okay, we do what we call here the hustle, where we take items that are located in the shop and we put them up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Okay? Now, these are individual vendors doing that. So they're going to do their own stuff, but they put that it's located here. Often people will come in to purchase it, and most of the time they purchase it, but sometimes they don't. But they look around the shop, they find something else they want, they purchase that, or they purchase the item they're coming in for, and they purchase more. So we call it the hustle. Facebook Marketplace. Not everybody does it in the shop, but the people that do, it's beneficial to them, and it's also beneficial to the shop. And somebody said, do good post. Well, I'm not sure what a good post is. The analytics on Facebook are tough to figure out. We do posts. We do regular posts every day, all day long. We probably do more posts than our competitors do. And sometimes I think it just gets lost in the shuffle, but we try to make good posts, and they say do paid posts, and that's a legit thing. Paid posts go over better on Facebook. Paid posts. Sorry, my phone's back there going on. But you know, again, who's paying that? And are you willing to pay a $5 social media fee every single month to have a social media person, to have paid posts, to do all that kind of stuff? So, but it was by far the number one thing. Better social media. Here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot, we do a lot. We are on Facebook. I said we do daily posts all day long. We are on Instagram, which a lot of our Facebook posts move over to Instagram. We just started on TikTok. We have our YouTube channel. We have our Facebook show that we do. We have a newsletter that goes out every month. I don't know if that's considered social media. But, I mean, we're out there. We're out there as much as you can be. Yeah, so we try real hard here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. You know, but if we get tied up or we seem to do the same, like we do the video, what are you doing this weekend video? And it's where I just step into a booth, say I'm looking at vendor so-and-so. If you don't have plans this weekend, how about coming out to Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot? Check out vendor so-and-so and all the wonderful vendors that we have here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. If you're not picking it up and you're not watching every single one, it may seem like I do Warren's every week, you know, but I actually don't, you know, but there are booths that look better than others, and I'm going to do those because I want people to come to the shop. So I'm gonna kind of go to those, but it's not favoritism. It's to get people in the shop.
Yep.
Okay. And I rarely do my own. But yeah, it's to get people in the shop. That's what social media is all about. So don't worry about it if it's not all about you. If you're worried about it being all about you, then do it yourself. You've got a booth, name it and go. So that's it. That's our show for this evening. I'm Jim. That's Warren. You've been watching Talking Vintage Vendor Corner. Brought to you by Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot, located at 502 West Brennan Road, Lakeland, Florida, 33813. If you're ever in Central Florida, please look us up. Come in and check us out. You know, hopefully, you know, it would be cool to have somebody come in and we actually get them on the show. Remember that one show we had Charlie Belcher?
Yes, we did. Yes,
Yeah,
we
he's
did.
a Fox 13 from Tampa Bay. He was in our shop to do a feature about our shop, and we got him on the show.
Yes, we did.
But I would love to have anybody come on the show. So
And
if
you
you're
don't have
gonna,
to be, they don't have to be a celebrity.
no, they would be a celebrity. They would
like
be.
us.
Yeah, no, they would be better than us. Yeah.
can they be
So
any
hey,
better than us?
if you're out there, you're going to come to Central Florida, stop in the shop. Let us know before you get here. We'll set it up so that we're going to shoot a show and we're going to put you in it. How about that? That'd be kind of cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks, Sunday at 8 p.m. See ya.
Gotchas.